Welcome back to Beyond the Classroom, and welcome back to LCCC's Laramie Campus. Today, I'm with Jamie McKim again, and we're going to talk about business training that they offer here at the Laramie Campus. So, Jamie, what kind of classes, business related, do you offer here?
Business training is a little bit new to our campus. Before I took the position, it really was something that we kind of struggled with around here. We didn't really have a person in place to offer it or programming. I took the job about 3 years ago, and with the intent that we were going to start to assess business trainings here in Laramie, what trainings that businesses needed their employees to be well versed at. Um, what we did was we actually created a survey that was geared at finding out what local businesses here need training wise for their employees. Um, I've really gone to the model of data driven decision making. So for the boring terms, the survey was qualitative and quantitative to find out what businesses here in town need their employees to know and, kind of like their dream list of what they could use for trainings, and we got a variety of answers. They range from, uh, just basic computer training. One person wrote, "I really wish some of our employees could learn how to write an email." Um, so so sometimes you have to filter through that and sift through it and say, "Okay, this is what we could offer," "These are classes we can do." Um, but some of the trainings we offer, like Excel 1, Excel 2, 3, and 4, bookkeeping, just stuff like that. We also, from the survey, learned that the community really is looking for training in some of the soft skills. Sometimes the stuff that we take for granted, communicating with people, customer service, um, writing an email. But, really just how we can help employees get a few more skills in the tool belt to make them better employees for their employers and so that their employers can get more, better work out of them. So those are the ones that we focus on around here. But it's computer skills, it's the basic communication skills. It's how do I de-escalate a conversation that goes to, if you're working customer service and the type of things, James.
And for any of you who have watched our series before, you might remember that we had an episode on soft skills with Tanya Hacker. If
She's
not,
really
go
good at
back
that.
and watch that. All right. So you surveyed the businesses around
Yeah.
town. Who are these classes designed for? Are they designed for the employee, for the business itself, for the business to upskill their employees? Who is it designed
So
for?
it's some from column A and it's some from column B. Really, some of the businesses that have reached out to us would like to have their managers trained on things, or some would like to have their frontline employees. When it comes to these customer service trainings, it's the people who answer the phone every day. It's their frontline people who encounter everybody who walks in the door, where they have to project an image of professionalism. And some of these companies only have 5 employees. So you know what that's like when you have one person who's the main person. You need them to have that skill set where somebody walks through the door, that customer can feel greeted and that can feel that their time is respected, right? As opposed to, "What do you need today? I'm sorry." It's like we all know the examples of bad customer service, but what image can we paint for their front end person that says, "We're welcoming, please come in. Do you have any concerns?" And if you have concerns, we can meet those concerns. And then for the managers, when they go through the training, they want stuff like, you know, how do we have difficult conversations? So important in this day and age when conflict arises. Everybody's quick to say, "Well, my leadership style is this," or, "My confrontational style is this." Those are built out of, you can go to any Barnes& and Noble, if they still exist, and buy a book on management and find that these are leadership styles, right? And you need to find where you fit into that. But some of our trainings that we do help businesses identify what their leadership styles are. We use like Clifton's strength finders, those type of things to help really find what people do well and how we can accentuate that, but also see what they might need work with. You know, I think sometimes the hardest part about a leader is admitting that there are things that you needed to work on. I think every leader needs to work on things. It's not, just let's soar with those 4 strengths you've got. It's like, hey, what could you use a little extra help on? Is it emotional intelligence training? Is it bridges out of poverty? And these are all trainings that we offer here on campus, where individuals can come in and get 4 to 8 hours of training with professionals who are, we have a certified person to do Clifton Strength Finders. We have certified people to do, all types of management classes. But these are programs that teach valuable skills, especially like in Laramie, when you look at the workforce. They're going to tell you that their number one thing that they struggle with is finding skilled labor, finding labor that has the ability to have these skills. But if you find somebody that can come in and work, you find a great employee, you can train them. I mean, these trainings exist. They can come here and we can set up training in the classroom. We can also meet them where they are. A lot of these businesses, James, especially around here in Laramie, aren't huge. We've done training sessions where it's 5 and they all want to come in and sit and learn, you know, whether that's customer service, just whatever. We can do whatever. And that's really one thing I think when I compare us to the credit side of what we do at LCCC, we're more nimble. We can, it's hard for anybody who teaches English 1010 to take a classroom and go to a high school and say, "We're going to train you on English today." Whereas we can pivot easily and say, "Listen, if you need that training, we could be there in 2 weeks. How many people do you need? What do you want us to cover in this training?" And that's the collaboration that I love, especially with here in the community and the business community here in Laramie, is that we can have those conversations and we can address needs to help develop employees better. We have a company here in town. I won't name them by name, but they send us 4 or 5 trainees each semester to go through some of the professional development because that's one promise that they make to their employees is if you have interest in going further and learning more to become a leader, even if you're not planning to work here for the rest of your life, we're going to get you that training because we believe in you as an employee, you know, and that's hard sometimes in the workforce today where it's like hard to get people to come in and even do a job, let alone get them developed into, how can we take it to the next level? Not everybody dreams of, I want to be the top. Some people just want to go in and do a job. But if we can make their job a little bit easier and give them a little bit more training where every day when they go in and don't, you know, dread
Yeah,
going to work.
and I think most employees are thankful for a
Sure,
company that invests in them,
sure.
right? Because not only are they spending the money for these trainings, they're spending the time to
Oh,
let these
sure,
companies out of doing whatever they do every day
sure,
to come to these
sure.
trainings.
And sometimes for some companies, that's a big ask or a big lift to send 7 people to do an Excel 1 class. But the hope is that they're going to pick up enough skills through that it's gonna make their job easier. And honestly too, Excel is like the one that drives the bus for data. If companies wanna know, you know, how many dollars do we have going out versus how many dollars we got going in, that's Excel. It's all in a spreadsheet. So, I mean, these are the type of trainings that don't take long. They can get the training in a day. And if they can commit to their workforce that they wanna develop them, I mean, the sky's the limit with what they can do.
So you gave me a good lead in
Sure.
there. My understanding is you have a pretty robust set of computer skills training.
We do.
What do you offer?
We have, currently, right now on our campus, we have Excel 1, 2, 3, and 4. What's the difference between 1 and 2 or 1 and 4? They're just more advanced. They take it further into Excel for data collection, for data organization. And really, those ones that are in 4 are ones who are probably working with their company to disseminate that quantitative data of, okay, we are moving X amount of units and how much does that cost us, and putting it in a spreadsheet so that they can give that to the supervisor. We offer Google Suites. We are offering Teams training. Pretty much anything that's out there that workforces are using, we can train it to allow them to work it better. Um, you know, so many now are transitioning to a Teams format. It's like, I don't like that. I don't like that instant messenger, or I don't like that chime. I don't want to make a phone call on a computer. Um, that's kind of the way that the business world is working nowadays, and it's going to continue to drift towards that. So honestly, it's something that businesses have to say. The worst phrase that they can always say is, "We've always done it that way." Change is inevitable. However, we get to that change or get ahead of it makes you more competitive in what you do. And if you have a workforce that can dial a phone on Teams, which is not sometimes an easy thing to learn right away, it's you got to go open a program and then you've got to punch numbers. And it's just a little bit different than I'm picking up a phone and dialing numbers. You know, it's still
Let's face it, nobody picks up a phone
nobody,
when you-
right?
It's this.
Right? Somebody said, "What's the difference between a Gen Xer and a millennial student?" It's like, tell them how they answer the phone. Well, Gen Xer is going to say like this. This doesn't exist anymore. It's like this. So it's just the changes. It's the nuances. It's the learning. We offer QuickBooks online training. We have an amazing accounting instructor who teaches that for us. Um, those computer trainings are, I think, quintessential into what you can use to develop your business, especially if you extrapolate data. So many of us nowadays use data to make the decisions that we make. It's how we decide what classes we offer here. If I've got nobody coming into a class on VCR repair, it's probably time to fold that class on VCR repair, right? It just doesn't make sense to keep it going. But if I can show that 4 people take Excel and that class goes to 6 the next semester, there's a need, right? There's a need in the community for that. And that's what we're going to be here for every day, is to answer that call for the need. I'll answer it like this because I'm a Gen Xer, but
I get you, banana.
if I appreciate it.
There you go. All right. So I know that LCCC has partnered with Ed2Go over the years, which expands a lot of the class offerings because they're online, right?
Sure.
We don't have to teach them, so an enrollment of one works. Do you do anything with Ed2Go here at all?
We haven't. It's not something that we're opposed to. Obviously, since LCCC uses it, we have just not folded it into our tool belt yet. But it's modality, right? It's asynchronous learning versus synchronous learning. I'm a firm believer. I think that's just because that's the way I've always learned myself. In that synchronous, you have to have somebody face to face teaching you exactly how to go from A to B. That doesn't always exist anymore, and I think, James, you see that with CDL probably more than anybody because they have to do computer training before they actually get into a cab, right, to drive a truck. So much of what we do now is, like, you can do it at your own pace, and you can do it at your own time, and again, that's not something I'm opposed to. I think that meeting somebody where they're at or the learning style that they need is something, but I wanna develop quality programs. I want us to have, and Ed2Go is one of those quality programs. It's education that already exists. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's, "Hey, we can offer X, Y, and Z for your employees," but they can do it online. They can do it at their desk. They may not have time to come in and say, "Hi, Jamie, I'm gonna spend 8 hours with you today." And it's a tough ask sometimes. It's a heavy lift. But, yeah, it's something certainly that I think we'll probably be going to, especially to do some asynchronous learning. I'm just such a huge fan of synchronous learning, though. I mean,
And talking to Rhonda Priest in a
yeah,
previous episode, Rhonda and I talked a lot about networking. You can get that
sure,
when you're sitting here in the classroom. It's really difficult when it's you
sure.
and a computer.
Sure. And then I think, anybody, one thing too, certainly to point out with is online learning is different than synchronous face-to-face instruction. It requires you to be able to disseminate yourself from A to B, whereas the instructor can naturally flow into that in the classroom. It takes a very specific person to be able to learn online asynchronous where they don't have a voice or anything to fill their head and it's just reading. That can be a little dry, but there is some excellent programming out there that allows those students to get the knowledge that they may not have time to come in and get. So it does serve a purpose, and I believe in that 100%. Just a little bit bigger fan maybe of synchronous learning.
And I agree. And everybody learns differently.
Yeah.
So having multiple ways to learn even
Absolutely.
the same topic is fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right. So switching gears a little bit, I heard you talk about customizing training, customized training. You mentioned that you'll get folks calling up saying, "Hey, I need a class for 4 or 5 folks. What can you do? When can you do it?" So how do you go about doing that? I even think I heard you say something about we come to you. So
Yeah. Well, when when I took this job it seems like so many million years ago, but, I campaigned really on the idea of bringing it to them. I love this idea. I love the fact that we can get in a car and we can drive to a business here in Laramie, and if they've got a space for it, we can sit there and we can instruct their employees in a way that doesn't disrupt maybe their daily flow enough. Um, we also offer the ability to have these beautiful classrooms, which you can all see if you're watching on the video. This is one of our amazing training classrooms as well. Um, we have space here. We're a community college. Certainly, that's what puts the community in community college is that we are here for the community to train them. And that's what these classrooms are for. In addition to our credit work, we have countless businesses that'll send employees in here to spend 8 hours learning, X, Y, or Z. So honestly, it's something that we can do wherever, and it actually is to meet the person. Some employees like to get away for a day, um, you know, because they may not love hanging out at the place they work for 8 hours, and it's kind of a mix up. Like they get a little, oh, it's a little bit of a treat. I'm going to a community college to learn for 8 hours. They can go into that mindset. They're going into a classroom to learn, right? Where sometimes is like if you come to the business, yeah, other things happen in a business, right? That's their day to day. But they know they're going into a classroom, they know that they're gonna learn, and they know they're gonna receive instruction. So it's just whatever works better for a business, and doing customized trainings is kind of the heart of that, what works best for the business. Going up to a business owner or a manager and being able to say, "What works best for you for a training? Would you rather come into us or would you rather have us come out to you?" Um, you know, it's a brilliant idea that we can travel, right? We have cars and we can go to a business or we go to the University of Wyoming and do a training, which we have done before in the past, um, to larger groups. It's just, what are your needs? It's the same as assessing your workforce. What are your needs for your workforce? What are your needs for your training? Would you prefer us to come there? Would you prefer to come here? You know, do you prefer it online? Do you prefer it, synchronous face to face?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing that something like a college is able to flex
Sure.
and structure its courses to meet what businesses need in the moment.
Right. And that's absolutely one of my absolute favorite things about what I get to do is I have the ability, if somebody calls me and says, "Jamie, we need training. We need Excel 1 for 10 people and I need it in 10 days. Can you deliver that?" The answer is yes. You go to the credit side and say, "I need an Excel class for 10 people in 2 weeks." It's not, there's no flexibility, right? They run on semesters and, it has to start on a certain time and end on a certain time. We don't have those guidelines in outreach and workforce development, which is my absolute favorite part of what we get to do is like we can be nimble, we can react, we can get the training that's necessary for that business in a quick method that they can start to see results from their employees.
So I know Laramie has professionals in a myriad of different fields, and I know a lot of those folks like to give back, help teach the next
Sure.
generation. What kinds of opportunities do you have for those folks to come in and, well, give back?
Sure. Those are the voices we want to hear. If you look at our postcard that we send out, I send out a postcard once a semester, just telling what classes we have here. But I also usually include the tagline, if you have something that you're interested in teaching, let us know. There's a lot of subject matter experts out there, especially in business, that want to give their time. I've had conversations with people who work at banks and say, "I've got time to give. Is there a class you'd like me to teach?" I say, "Sure. What's your education and what's your passion? You know, what do you want to learn?" So, yes, absolutely, give back is a great way to obviously show their employees too that you know they can teach and they have skills that they can teach other people too. So, I mean, you find that person with passion, you find that business that has passion. I had, one person approach me the other day, and they said, "I think that, work culture is a very important topic, and it needs to be covered. Is that something that I could teach for you?" I was like, "Absolutely, let's develop it. It doesn't exist yet, but we could develop it," right? So, so much of what we do already exists out there, and there's a lot of professionals out there that can share that knowledge. Kinda pool it together, right? You know, I'm always looking for instructors for business or life enrichment. So, you know, that's again, my name is Jamie McKim, and that's 307-772-4256. If you're in the area and you have interest and you want to teach a class, I'm very buggable. Give me a phone call and say, "Hey, I'd like to teach X, Y, or Z," and I'm always usually a soft yes. So
Soft yes, not a hard yes. All right. All right. So I love asking success stories because I love hearing success stories. Do you have one related to business development, computer training? Could be a person, could be a business.
sure, we had a woman go through our QuickBooks training, and I one of the things I love to do is since we're small enough and usually the training is like right outside my office, I like to poke my head into classrooms and talk to students. It's something that I really take pride in the fact that I love to do it. I love to hear what they have to say. Because so much of what I do or what we offer is comes from students' recommendations. But she was telling us that she's starting a business. And it's like, well, what kind of business are you starting? So she told me, and it's like, well, we have other classes here that, you know, might help you out as well, hiring or talking with employees. So she's since taken 3 more of our business training classes, and she's developing a business in another state, but, this is giving her the backbone and the skill set that she needs to develop and work with employees that she didn't have before. So she's going to develop this business from the ground. It's just an idea that she had because she thought if I had a place that I could offer a product that and she knew she could do some customer service, but she wanted to get a little bit better. She took in that class. Also the QuickBooks, how do I bookkeep for this business once I've done it? You know, it's really entrepreneurial in spirit of that she can get all this training that she needs to really under one roof and apply it to real world and develop a business and, launch it from concept to completion just from the classes that she's taken here. And she will. She's still I saw her the other day, she's still taking some classes and getting to that point where she's ready to launch a business, but when she does, she's gonna have the skill set and she's gonna know what she needs. And she's like, "Hey, I may have the need to for you guys to train X, Y, and Z number of employees. We'll be there." You know, and that's the ones that have that seed planted in their brain is like, it doesn't just exist for the 8 hours they're here. If they need us down the road, they can contact us and we can do more training or additional training or, you know, what are you missing in the training you received that we could, supplement or offer a different class or something like that. So, when she launches her business, we'll be there first and foremost to say congratulations, but what are your additional needs if you have any? So, yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
All right. So you get folks out there who I'm sure are interested in signing up for classes. How do they do that?
Well, that's a very easy one. Again, my name is Jamie McKim, and my direct phone line is 307-772-4256. Call. We have a catalog that comes out once a semester. It's a little postcard, but it's also you can reach it on our Course Star website to see what trainings we offer, what's upcoming. We have trainings that go throughout the entire semester, fall, spring, and into the summer. And honestly, too, if you see stuff that that you don't see, sometimes it's that what you don't see that you like, suggest it or say, hey, do you guys ever do X, Y, or Z? I'm happy to explore it. Like I said, soft yes. So,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
All right. Anything else you want folks to know?
No, I mean, honestly, it's just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to learn something new, at any age. I think one of the biggest gifts that we have to ourselves is that we don't stop as adult learners and to keep going. And it may be a computer class here or a word class there, or how do I do a PowerPoint presentation? These are all skills that as consumers and as business people, we need to know to make us more marketable, because sometimes that leads to a better job. You may not like where you're at right now, but if you take an Excel class, you can get better at that. That's a skill set that you can put on your resume that separates you and puts you to the point where you may stand out over somebody else. It's those soft skills that get translated, but it's also those computer skills. It's Excel ones, it's Excel twos. How do I use PowerPoint? You may be called upon to give a presentation, which you've never done before, or even create a PowerPoint. You know, there are skills that you can still learn as a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old that just as easily as you can learn as a 20-year-old in college or, in the workforce that can set you apart and get you a better job or make it better within your own job. You may have ambitions to raise up and get promoted. You need those skills. You need the skills to do that. We can do that. We have classes. Give us a call. Like I said, if it's something you don't see, we'll make it happen. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Beyond the Classroom. Thanks again, Jamie, for
Thanks,
joining me.
James.
Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.
I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow. I want tomorrow today.